And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the one and only Junk Shop Library channel, home of Improv Bible Study, where we read the King James Bible one laborious chapter at a time and then excoriate it as it so deserves. I am trying to work with my second screen here, which is the high-tech, spare no expense cell phone on a stick, but that doesn't seem to be working real well. My original thought was that I would be able to interact with the chat over here instead of over here. Because as I found out just before we went live, there is actually a 12-second delay between the stream chat and the StreamYard chat. And yet right now, I'm not showing anything. Oh, there we go. It had crashed and I had to refresh it. Well, we'll see. It was an experiment worth making, I suppose. And we got people here with us. Hello to everybody. Hello to Santy the Sane. Hello to Brainbug. Hello to Paul Kemish, my patron. He has his very own crawler at the bottom of the screen due to his incredible generosity, which has allowed me to do this. Are you blinded by the light? Yes, you are. Which is why I look like a human with light on both sides of his face right now. Critical Cripple is in the chat. Julie is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Is that what I look like on yours too? That glitchy, stuttery? Dear. I was hoping it was not, because I look just fine on my side of StreamYard. Oh my. All right, we got Angie, we got Dave, and Hugs going on. All righty. Now, let's see. Seems like there was some housekeeping I was supposed to do, but I didn't write it down. Brainbug's about to drive, so he's going to be quiet. Good. Do not text and drive. Do not YouTube chat and drive. These are bad things. I prefer all of you safe and alive. I am told it's a bit glitchy. And yeah, looking at it on the on this, I don't know why.
You know what?
Our internet has been. Sorry, sweetheart. What?
Oh, I was saying we just need to hook the Ethernet cable up to this one.
Yeah. Yep. Julie says we should just go ahead and hook an Ethernet cable up to this, because apparently our Wi-Fi is just 300 kinds of terrible right now, and we've been fighting with it all day, and I decided it would be a good idea to do a live stream anyway. So here we are. Here we all are. So many people. I love it. I am so happy right now. Alrighty. If you too would like your own designated crawler on the show, you too can do as Paul did and join us over at patreon.com/JunkshopLibrary. For as little as $1 a month. I've got a little bit of patron-only content, and I'm working on getting more stuff set up, and there is a patron-only voice chat dedicated on my Discord server, the link to which is in the description. Aren't I fancy? I got all kinds of stuff going on. Alrighty. I know I've had a couple of folks join the channel since we last convened here together. Um, but there were not people whose subscriptions were public, and I do not call out those people by name out of respect for their privacy. I can understand why just everybody doesn't necessarily want everybody to see um, this kind of content being watched on their device of choice. I am wondering, you know what? Let me try something real quick. I'm going to jump into settings and try. I wonder what happens. Did it make any difference? The picture's a little clearer.
Whoa, yeah, my picture's way
Is it a little glitchy still?
clearer. You're still a little pixelated.
You know what? Let's go ahead and try this. Is that any better at all? I'm just testing to see how bad the lag is on my second screen here. Oh, it's pretty bad. But it looks better.
Yeah.
Does it look better for everybody else? All right. Well, we'll stick with that then. Apparently, we can indeed support the high definition resolution on the camera, which is a whopping 720p. Let's see. We got some more folks joining the chat. We got Stuttering Chris giving me compliments and hate simultaneously. How are you doing today, my friend? It is good to see you. And we got Transgarter in the chat. Fantastic new channel, which you should definitely subscribe to if you are not already. They did a fairly brilliant takedown of a very insensitive video that was just a glory to watch the other day. Good stuff over there. It's a little lagged. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure if that is an internet issue, if that is a camera issue, if that is a microphone issue, or if that is an old ass computer issue. I don't know.
Oh, now it's a lot better.
Does it make it? Tell you what, does it make a difference if I move or if I stay still? Does it glitch out more if I move around?
Right now you look awesome.
Okay, maybe it just took the computer a minute to catch up to the HD performance. Interesting. Okay, well, I don't pretend to understand it, but it certainly looks better on my phone, so we're going to... Yes, I know I'm live on my channel. I made it that way. Yes. Yes, it is. We're going to throw that. That one's too good not to throw up on the screen. Transgarter says, taking down alt-right ethno-nationalists who are pushing transphobic ideologies through biological essentialism is always fun. It was great fun to watch, and I'm glad y'all are doing the good work over there. Keep that up, please, and we will keep watching. Alrighty. Let me partake of the fruit of the vine here real quick, and then we'll launch into Holy Writ. know you can hear my little fish tank talking to itself in the background. I have yet to figure out. I'm sure with a better microphone, I might be able to set some kind of threshold or focus of sound. I could just talk right into it like this, but I don't think anybody wants that. All right, so
Huh.
we turn.
Sorry, you tricked my ASMR button.
Well, some people might. I am told some people might, but that's a different kind of show, y'all. All right, so we're going. Wow, it is so much easier to read this shit with this light on. That's amazing. Where did I put my fucking glasses? Oh, yes, that's the other bit of housekeeping that I meant to do. This is not a children's channel. In case it wasn't obvious when I said we go through the King James Bible every excruciating verse at a time. We drink and we cuss, and occasionally old Junk Shop has to have him a little smoke break, and because it's old Junk Shop's channel, old Junk Shop gets to do what he wants. Paul, I think, is going to leave us. He said, oh, well, it's midnight where Paul is. He'll have to catch up in the morning. Okay, well, thank you so much for dropping by. Your presence is always immensely appreciated, as has been your help with the Discord and your help with the channel. Thank you, my friend. Oh, and he's got to plug in the headphones. Yeah, I should start putting that warning a little further up in the opening credits, I suppose. Just in case folks have little uns about. Um, yeah, I'll figure out a better time to. If I can ever figure out a standard time to do this and make myself sit down in front of the camera at a standard time, uh, that'd be. I think that'll be better for all of us. But I've got some folks who are better with this time of day. Some folks who are better earlier in the day, and some folks who are better much later in the day. So, says St. Paul. Angie says she should know. Yes, Brainbug says happy 420 to all my herbally inclined friends. Yeah, it's the carcinogenic kind. Old John allergic to the herb that Jah has sown, and can't even be around breakout into hives. No offense and no. It's something I cannot do for very, very excellent. Somebody says, let's see, Transgarter says I'm frozen and I'm roboting.
Just for a second.
Okay. Can I edit bandwidth through StreamYard? I don't think so. I do know I've got some. Oh, y'all, I got all kinds of issues. But having said that, this is about the best this has looked since the time I tried to do an edited video recorded through OBS and then released after the fact. Because as we all know, when I use the onboard editing system that came with the computer, the audio starts out of sync and lags further and further behind over the course of the video. If I'm just doing a recorded video, it's a trip. My poetry reading video, The Revel, where I read the immortal words of Bartholomew Dowling to increasingly out of sync video, is quite funny in a way that the poem itself is not intended to be. Ah, Faye's allergic too. It's not just me. Video quality, great. Yes, thank you. I think, didn't you join us after I changed the video quality up from 360p, which was what it had defaulted to? And Nevermore Tavern is here. Welcome, welcome, my friend. I better get started on this Bible stuff. I've been going for 15 minutes and hadn't done a single verse. I appreciate y'all bearing with me through my troubleshooting and my extensive, rather through my housekeeping and my extensive troubleshooting. Lower the bandwidth. I don't think I've got that. Let me try settings here. General settings. No. No options whatsoever. All right. Good to know that that's something I need to poke around with in other programs, though. Thank you. Thank you. Stop it. Notifications. This is fascinating television, isn't it? Thank y'all so much for sticking around. Alrighty. 2 Samuel, 17th chapter, out of... We ain't going to finish today. 17 out of 24. So, we're closer than when we first believed. Alrighty. Let's see, where were we? Oh, yeah, the ongoing civil squabble that left David stranded on the top of the Mount of Olives. And, no, not Abishai, but what's his face? Absalom, David's son, has taken up residence in Jerusalem. Using one with a video source. Okay. Thanks, Jay. I'll try to figure that out. Moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, Let me now choose out 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him when he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid, and all the people that are with him shall flee, and I will smite the king only. And I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all returned, so all the people shall be in peace. And the saying pleased Absalom well, and all the elders of Israel. Then said Absalom, Call now Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear likewise what he saith. And when Hushai was come to Absalom, Absalom spake unto him, saying, Ahithophel hath spoken after this manner. Shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. And Hushai said unto Absalom, The counsel that Ahithophel hath given us is not good. Thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and in the field. And thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge in some pit or in some other place. And it will come to day, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. Iron shall utterly melt, for all Israel knoweth that thy father from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew of him. There shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, The counsel of Ahushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel, for the Lord hath appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom. Then said Hushai unto Zadok and to Abiathar the priests, Thus and thus did Ahithophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counselled. Now therefore send quickly, and tell David, saying, Lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up, and all the people that are with him. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Enrogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city. And a wench went out and told them, and they went and told King David. Nevertheless a lad saw them, and told Absalom. But they went both of them away quickly, and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court, whither they went down. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground corn thereon, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman to the house, they said, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman said unto them, They have gone over the brook of water. And when they had sought and could not find him, they returned to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, after they were departed, that they came up out of the well, and went and told King David, and said unto David, Arise, and pass quickly over the water, for thus hath Ahithophel counselled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan. By the morning light there lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass, and arose, and gat him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself, and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. Then David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over Jordan, and he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the host, instead of Joab, which Amasa was a man's son, whose name was Ithra, an Israelite, that went in to Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister to Jeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass, when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobi, the son of Nahash of Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and Machir, the son of Amiel of Lodabar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite of Rogalim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, and wheat and barley and flour and parched corn and beans and lentils and parched pulse and honey and butter and sheep and cheese of kine for David and for the people that were with him to eat. For they said, The people is hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. And there we have chapter 17 of 2 Samuel. You know, y'all, if you had told me when I started out on this project over a year ago that the most absolutely bonkers, hilarious, yakety sax portion would be buried in the middle of 2 Samuel, I would have laughed in your face. Laughed, I would have said. All right, let me scroll back up. What the chat has been up to while I've been reading, because I saw it go. Come on, machine, work with me.
Yeah. You robot a little bit.
Okay.
Transgarter made a suggestion that my
Let
president
us see.
right now, so doesn't like I
Just OBS. Yeah, I should and see what I can do. Wow, I see I am just frozen and glitched.
Transverter with the poop holder.
Come on, machine. I can't even scroll in the chat. Roboting again. Julie says, like and share between meditation. Transgarter said it might be good to lower the... All right, let's drop back down to a lower... Yeah, because 720 looks good, but it's freezing a lot more than it was for a while. Let's try standard definition and see if that makes a difference.
Oh, yeah,
Nevermore Tavern had to run, just stopped in to show some love. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate your presence and your support. Sorry for focusing on it. No, not at all. Not at all. I would love to have these problems fixed because I want to look good on YouTube. I don't want to look like the rank festering amateur that I am. I want to look good. The Pope poster is amazing. Thank you. That's promotional material for a band called Ghost BC. They were originally just called Ghost in the UK, but when they came over here, discovered there was already a band called Ghost, so they called themselves Ghost BC. They're satanic, satirical pop metal, if that makes any sense. Also, if you turn your camera on and off, it might reset back into sync. Hey, it's worth a shot. Let's give it a shot. Who knows?
You are in think that's this moment.
Am I?
Yeah. I mean, there's a 12-second delay.
Yeah, well, there is that. Sorry, we're trying to troubleshoot in the infamous 12-second delay from between hither and thither and thither and yon.
I'm in the future.
Sounds like a pretty cool band, not gonna lie. Yeah, check them out. Their stuff is all over YouTube. I personally recommend a track called Year Zero. All right, we have caught up in the chat. Okay, it synced back up. The hell? Who knows? Who knows what evil lurks in the minds of technology? Okay, so a chapter full of chasing and of contradiction and of suicide out of frustration. I did not see that coming, I'll be honest. All right. So, Hushai, who in memory serves, is spying for David in the house of Absalom. Yes. Okay. So, Ahithophel comes to Absalom, David's son, and says, I've got an idea. Why don't I take a small and elite strike force of only about, let's say, 12,000 guys, and I'll sneak out in the middle of the night, and I will come upon your father while he is tired and worn out, and I'll kill him dead and bring his whole army back to you, to be yours, because everybody knows they're just following him because of him. And if he's dead, if I assassinate your father, then you can have that little army back. Amiganet says, no spoilers, please. Transgarter points out that 12,000 men is super stealthy. Yeah. In the middle of the night, the quiet tripping of the dainty little feet of 12,000 men-at-arms would never be noticed. All right. So Absalom says, yeah, yeah, I kind of like this plan. Why don't you take those 12,000 men and go out and murder my dear old dad? But I tell you what, let me check with my other advisor real quick. You don't have a problem with that, do you? And what's he going to say, right? So he calls up Hushai, the Archite, and says, here's Mr. Ahithophel's plan. What do you think of it? And Hushai says, it's bullshit. It's a bad plan. And I'll tell you why it's a bad plan. And I can't believe neither Ahithophel nor you thought of this, you damn fool idiots. Listen to me when I'm talking to you, because here's the problem. The thing you're forgetting, is that your dad's been king a long time. And he was a warrior for a long time before that. And he was a shepherd for a long time before that. He's used to the sleeping rough. He doesn't mind the wilderness too much. So you know good and goddamn well he's not going to be on some feather bed surrounded by, oodles and scads and boo-koodles of soldiers. He's going to be hid away in some culvert somewhere far away from the camp of the host. And when you start coming in and making noise and ruckus, somebody's going to run off and tell his ass, and he's going to scamper, and you ain't never going to see him again. And Absalom says, well, I'll be damned. I didn't even think of that when I was planning dear old daddy's assassination. I didn't think about him and his history and his personality and his everything that I should have known from living with him and fighting alongside him for all these scores of years. Never fucking occurred to me. So he says, you got a better plan? And Hushai, the Archite, says, yeah, I got a better plan. Fuck this 12,000 men elite strike force noise. Let's all go after him. Every able-bodied man will go and we shall smite. And if he hath run away so that we are not able to smite, we shall pursue. And then we shall smite. Few extra smites there, just special for Angie, who I know loves it when I smite. And then they will all run away, says Hushai, the Archite, and we shall pursue. And Absalom says, this is a much better plan. He turns to Ahithophel and says, I have decided that whereas a moment ago I thought you were a man of wisdom and an excellent military planner with your idea for an elite strike force of 12,000 men only, I have now decided that your plan is a big dumb stupid, and I'm not going to go with it. And Ahithophel says, well, fine. You don't like my plan, you go on without me. And he packs up, and he gets on his ride, and he goes home, and tidies up his house, and goes in the back room, and hangs himself dead. Like you do. Transgarter says, got a I almost said DVD game. I was like, wow, that's a blast from the fucking past. Got a D&D game. It was fun. Just wanted to stop by and show some love. Take care. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming by. Um, which, whichever one of y'all it is, I just realized I don't know. Thank you so much for coming by and for the support and the love. I'll see y'all around. Be safe. Julie says, well, I guess at least he cleaned up first. Yeah. Yeah, at least he put his house in order before he hanged himself to death in a fit of pique. Well, and that would have worked had it not been for the fact that Hushai, as we established last time, is a spy. And so he goes off creepsy and tricksy to the two priests he's got in his pocket and tells them the plan. And they send out a wench to tell some people on David's side of the wall. But some lads saw the wench. You cannot make this shit up, y'all. Only in the King James. Some lads saw the wench and went and tattled on her. And the lads continued on their way out to David, and a pursuing force, on the word of the wench, takes off after the lads and pursues them. And they run, and they run, and they came to a place where they know the lady of the house, and there's a well, and they climb down the well, and the lady of the house spreads a blanket over the mouth of the well, and sets up as though she's been grinding corn on that particular weird space in the middle of the yard. And the soldiers come up and say, where's Larry and Curly? They were coming this way. We damn well know they were. And she says, oh, they went over the river yonder. And they say, okay. And they go charging off over the river yonder. And once they're well clear, she presumably gathers up the ground corn and rolls away the covering and helps the two little fuckers out of the well and sends them on their way. And they go off and tell David. And David gathers up all his people and they fuck off to Jericho. And that's chapter 17. Like I said, the entire last few chapters could have been scored perfectly with a running loop of yakety sax, and it would have been just fucking fine. I did not expect, I'll say again, as I said before, I did not expect sketch comedy in the middle of the book of 2 Samuel and the civil war between Absalom and his father, King David, the dumbass, and adulterer, and murderer, and all the other shit that we've seen that David gets up to. And rapist, lest we forget. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of the atrocities in the big book of war crimes and outdated regulations. I gotta figure something out about this angle. Whenever I do my trademark lean over, prop my head on my hand and my hand on my elbow and my elbow on the cushion, I automatically bring the big giant light glare into frame. I got that old secretary behind me with the glass window in it. All right. So I forgot to throw up my crawler there for the chapter, which means I can now go in and edit and change it from 17 to 18, because old Junk Shop's going to keep on going. Show, yes, checkbox. All right. Well, I'm kind of curious as to what happens next, so we're going to go on into 18, even though we're already 40 minutes in. Wow, do I really look as glitchy and pixelated as it looks like I do?
Yeah.
Oh well, life goes on. Hey, Godless Granny, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Always good to see you.
Oh, my mother's
Alrighty, we will turn now to the 18th chapter and see what happens next, because I want to know. I have broken the binding in this so thoroughly already that I wonder if you can actually see. Can you see me? Because I can see you. I don't know why I'm in such a silly mood today. I'll take it. But I don't know why. All right, 18. Glasses first. Light or not, the print still remaineth small. 18. And David numbered the people that were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. And David set forth a third part of the people under the hand of Joab, and a third part under the hand of Abishai the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and a third part under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said unto the people, I will surely go forth with you myself also. But the people answered, Thou shalt not go forth, for if we flee away, they will not care for us, neither if half of us die will they care for us. But now thou art worth 10,000 of us, therefore now it is better that thou succor us out of the city. And the king said unto them, What seemeth you best I will do. And the king stood by the gate side, and all the people came out by hundreds and by thousands. And the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Deal gently, for my sake, with the young men, even with Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave the captain's charge concerning Absalom. That seems important. So the people went out into the field against Israel, and the battle was in the woods of Ephraim, where the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David, and there was a great slaughter that day of 20,000 men. For the battle was there scattered over the face of all the country, and the wood devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. And Absalom met the servants of David. And Absalom rode upon a mule, and the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak, and his head caught hold of the oak, and he was taken up between the heaven and the earth, and the mule that was under him went away. And a certain man saw it, and told Joab, and said, Behold, I saw Absalom hanged in an oak. And Joab said unto the man that told him, And behold, thou sawest him, and why didst thou not smite him there to the ground? I would have given thee 10 shekels of silver, and a girdle. And the man said unto Joab, Though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver in mine hand, yet would I not put forth mine hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king charged thee, and Abishai, and Ittai, saying, Beware that none touch the young man Absalom. Otherwise I should have wrought falsehood against mine own life, for there is no matter hid from the king, and thou thyself wouldst have set thyself against me. And then said Joab, I may not tarry thus with thee. And he took 3 darts in his hand, and thrust them through the heart of Absalom, while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak. And 10 young men that bare Joab's armor compassed about, and smote Absalom, and slew him. And Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing after Israel, for Joab held back the people. And they took Absalom, and cast him into a great pit in the wood, and laid a very great heap of stones upon him, and all Israel fled every one to his tent. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and reared up for himself a pillar, which is in the king's dale, for he said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. And he called the pillar after his own name, and it is called, unto this day, Absalom's place. Then said Ahimaaz the son of Zadok, Let me now run and bear the king tidings, how that the Lord hath avenged him of his enemies. And Joab said unto him, Thou shalt not bear tidings this day, but thou shalt bear tidings another day. But this day thou shalt bear no tidings, because the king's son is dead. Then said Joab to Cushi, Go tell the king what thou hast seen. And Cushi bowed himself unto Joab, and ran. Then said Ahimaaz the son of Zadok yet again to Joab, But howsoever, let me, I pray thee, also run after Cushi. And Joab said, Wherefore wilt thou run, my son, seeing that thou hast no tidings ready? But howsoever, said he, let me run. And he said unto him, Run. And Ahimaaz ran by the way of the plain, and overran Cushi. And David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man running alone. And the watchman cried and told the king. And the king said, If he be alone, there is tidings in his mouth. And he came apace and drew near. And the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called unto the porter, and said, Behold, another man running alone. And the king said, He also bringeth tidings. And the watchman said, Methinketh the running of the foremost is like the running of Ahimaaz the son of Zadok. And the king said, He is a good man, and cometh with good tidings. And Ahimaaz called and said unto the king, All is well. And he fell down to the earth upon his face before the king, and said, Blessed be the Lord thy God, which hath delivered up the men that lifted up their hand against against my lord the king. And the king said, Is the young man Absalom safe? And Ahimaaz said, When Joab sent the king's servant, and me, thy servant, I saw a great tumult, but I knew it not what it was. And the king said unto him, Turn aside, and stand here. And he turned aside, and stood still. And behold, Cushi came. And Cushi said, Tidings, my lord the king, for the Lord hath avenged thee this day of all them that rose up against thee. And the king said unto Cushi, Is the young man Absalom safe? And Cushi answered, The enemies of my lord the king, and all that rise against thee to do thee hurt, be as that young man is. And the king was much moved, and he went up to the chamber over the gate, and wept. And as he went thus he said, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son. And there we have the 18th chapter of 2 Samuel. Close notifications. Stop it, computer. Because they always respond. Right. Amiganet says, reading the big book of war crimes and outdated regulations can make someone a little silly in the head. And he is correct. Virtually singing. Julie says Angie was virtually singing, and she is unanimous in this. Proud of my dorkiness. Yes, we're all proud of our dorkiness and nerdiness and geekiness and such. Okay, well that chapter was violent. I mean, what else do we expect of the fucking Old Testament? But that was right violent, was it not? Okay, so as it began, try not to keep ducking down out of frame here. Sorry, y'all. So David counts off all of his army and set captains over the hundreds and captains over the thousands. Divides them third by third under 3 different major captains. And says, I'm going with you too, since we're going out to war. And the people say, the fuck you say? Look, here's the deal. Your son's beef is with you, and with you alone. He doesn't give a single flying shit about us. So, if it's just us going to war, and we turn around and run our happy ass away at some point, he will just let us go. Whereas if you are with us, it will turn into a mighty great slaughter. We're talking some Old Testament level massacre shit here we can look forward to. And we're not looking forward to getting Old Testament massacred. So you stay your happy ass here, and we'll send word to you if anything noteworthy happens, victory or defeat. David says, well, I guess it's kind of hard to argue the logic of that. Godspeed. Oh. Oh, one last thing. Y'all need to remember that the captain of the opposing force is my son, my little boy Absalom. So I want him. Y'all listening? Y'all listening to me real fucking good. I want him taken alive. Y'all hear me? Everybody hear me? Taken alive. They say, we got it. Taken alive. Gotcha. And they go off to war. And in one of the big dumb stupids of all big dumb stupidity, they fight this war in the middle of a giant fuck-off forest. And 20,000 people die by the sword, and more than that, get lost in the brambles. Not a pretty way to go, dying of starvation in a giant fuck-off wood. And that's not the greatest tragedy that befalls anybody in this giant fuck-off wood. Mr. Absalom, the king's son, is riding along on a mule for no readily discernible reason, and apparently either going too fast or along too dimly lit an area, and gets his hair caught on a branch, and gets his head stuck in a tree. And the mule, being a mule, not the smartest of critters, but by far one of the most determined, just goes on his merry way, leaving Mr. Absalom hanging in the tree by his hair. That gesture would have worked better if I still had the kind of hair on the back of my head that I did when I was a young man. And a member of the army, David's army, comes along and sees him hanging in the tree by his hair, and goes off and tells his boss Joab, says, hey, I saw the king's son hanging in the tree by his hair. Absalom says, why the fuck didn't you just kill him, you dumb son of a bitch? I would have given you the bounty. Hey, Math Pig, welcome aboard, my friend.
David's back.
And Dave is back. Hello, Dave. Y'all, pardon me. It's not the Rona, it's just allergies. All right. Well, the soldier turns to Absalom, or not to Absalom, but to Joab, rather, and says, exactly how fucking stupid are you? Weren't you listening back at the town when David, the king, Absalom's daddy, told us specifically, explicitly, and in no uncertain terms he wanted him taken alive? Don't you remember that part? He pulled his microphone in all close to his mouth and said, taken alive. Weren't you paying attention, you dumb son of a bitch? I wouldn't have killed him for any amount of reward. Because A, you would have killed me for being disloyal to King David. And if your ass didn't, King David certainly would have for killing his fucking son. Joab says, well, I guess you got a point. Why don't you just tell me whereabouts you saw him hanging by his hair? And, oh, I see the name. Alien Overlords! Sorry, I saw Richard Madsen's name mentioned, and I had to. I couldn't help it. Dave's licking people again. You're weird, Dave. All right.
But he's our Dave. So
Yes, but he's our weird. So, true enough. All right. And the guy says, oh, it was over yonder and around the bend and up the hill and past the, the big tree and all. And Joab says, good to know. And he goes off with some of his folks, and they come find poor Absalom still hanging in the tree by his hair. Still. Ouch. And Joab says, you know what? Let me put you out of your fucking misery. And he takes 3 arrows, not 1, 3, and stabs him with them. And 10 of his people also smite poor Absalom whilst he hangs in the tree by his hair. Ouch. Sorry, Matt Pig came late to the ball. Absalom, the son of King David, the mighty man of Israel, oh yes, and also murderer and rapist, they've gotten into a slight tussle that has escalated into a massive civil war that's led to David losing control of Jerusalem. And Absalom, through a couple of chapters best scored with the classic yakety sax music, has ended up out on the field of battle while David stayed at home, and has ended up his donkey run off from under him and left him hanging in the tree by his hair. Ouch. And now he's got himself all murdered to death by 11 fucking people at once. Now you're caught up. Weird fucking book, y'all. And then, once we've had ourselves the nice 20,000 man massacre and more lost in the woods, and the absolutely biblical overkill, we go back to the yakety sack part. Guy comes to Mr. Joab and says, let me go tell the king that his son is dead. Joab says, "You ain't gonna do no such fucking thing. Are you out of your damn mind? Let him be happy for another day. We'll tell him tomorrow when we all get back." Another fella comes up and says, why don't I just tell him that we won? Joab says, "I think you'll be able to deal with that. Scamper!" So off he scampers. And Mr. Cushi, Joab's son, throws a fucking temper tantrum. Throws a temper tantrum and says, "Why wouldn't you let me go? You let him go, but you wouldn't let me go. I wanted to run and tell David the news." And Joab says, "Well, you were going to tell him the whole son murdering news." Cushi says, "I can keep stuff to myself. Let me go. Let me go running. I want to go running. I want to go tell King David. I want the credit. I want the exercise. I want to run." Joab says, "Fine. Fine. Go. Knock yourself out." And Mr. Cushi takes off a running. I may have got the names backwards, but I don't remember the other one, so it doesn't greatly matter. And the guy who set off second overtakes the guy who set off first and passes him and gets closer to the city faster. And David's sitting there, drumming his kingly fingers, waiting for news of the battle. When he hears a shout. He hears a shout from the top of the wall, and it's the watchman. And the watchman says, "There's somebody running this way." David says, "Just one? Just one?" Oh, so it's a messenger. Brilliant. This sort of brilliant insight is one of the innate characteristics that is why David was raised by Yahweh to lordship over his chosen people. Must be a messenger. So he goes out to wait for the messenger to arrive. Now, before the messenger arrives, the man on top of the wall shouts back again, "There's another guy running here. Another one." David says, "Is he alone?" Says, "Yep, he's alone." "Oh, great. It's another messenger with updated directions, instructions, reports, messages, whatever the hell. Words." Well, the first guy comes up to David and says, "Everything's fine. We won." David says, "How about my son?" And the guy says, far as I know, he's okay." David says, "All right, well, we got another messenger on the way. Why don't you chill right over here for a minute?" The second guy comes up and says, "Well, I got good news. I got good news. And I got bad news." David says, "What is it?" The guy says, Well, the good news is we won. Bad news is your son's dead." And David's upset. And rightly so, if we're being honest, because despite the fact that his son was in open armed rebellion against him, he had left specific, explicit, and in no uncertain terms instructions that the man be taken alive. You wouldn't think this would have been hard. Of course, you wouldn't have expected him to get stuck hanging in the tree by his hair. Ouch! Either. But who knows? Well, that chapter was a nice mess, wasn't it? Hey, Mr. Shadow Kitty. welcome. I did not. I got to scroll back up through the chat. I've been doing my crazy reenactment thing over here, and there's been a lot of chat go by. Dooly dooly doop. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Dave and Math Pig are at odds.
Nope, they're fine now. Well, they were.
Sorry, up
Never
in the
mind.
chat.
You do your thing.
Up in
Sorry.
the. Yeah. Thank you, dear. And yeah, Angie, like a long-time viewer that she is, all together now. Weird fucking book. A nice, calm hangout plan. Ah, there's Mr. Shadow Kitty's entrance. Hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the yakety sax portion of the big book of war crimes and outdated regulations. I figure if I keep showing that page on screen long enough, YouTube will eventually pick some picture of some frame of me doing this with this in view as the automatic thumbnail. Otherwise, I may just have to make one. Dave left me for Richard. My heart is broken. Oh, it's a... no! I hate a breakup. Let's see. And Peace Pipe. 420, 420, 420. Willie Nelson. 420. After 1 hour with... Math, where did that go? After 1 hour with Richard, Math Prig prescribes 2 grams. I believe it. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo. Amiga Nuts says someone has to turn this into a full comedy/dramatic audiobook. Well, my friend, if you go to the channel... No, I know what you mean. Hey, look, if anybody wants to go to the absolute effort of cutting out just the comedic reenactment and commentary versions and clipping them all together into a 3,000 hours long file, I can't imagine what anybody would do with that. That'd be a nightmare. Oh, Math Pigs, let's see, if you want a standard thumbnail, I'll throw one at you, Junk Shop. Oh, you know what? That'd be fantastic because I don't dare use my my comedic the one you made of me trying to get a sense of OBS. Although that was fucking hilarious. All right. Well, let's see. We've been going over an hour already. Of course, the first like 15 minutes of it was troubleshooting. Do you want to do another chapter, or do you want to wrap it at this point? Thanks, Math Pig. I appreciate that. You're awesome. What's the consensus, y'all? Do we want to do another one, or do we want to roll out here? I don't know if anybody has places to be, things to do. I just don't want to end up with a 2.5 hour stream like I accidentally did on, what was it, Good Friday or Easter Sunday? Because, that shit doesn't ever get rewatched. Anything that long.
Oh, we just gotta go deal with it.
And, yeah.
But Amiga Nuts and I both want
More. All right. Well, we'll do, let me go in and edit the banner here. We'll go do 19. Take care, Angie. Be safe. Take care of those little ones. We'll see you next time. Oh, I've got to hide it first to edit it. That's probably smart. Smart on the program's part. Okay. Let's see. Amiganut says, Encore. Math Pig. Spartan theology interviewing divine disbelief. Oh my lord. Wow. Best of luck, my friend. That sounds like a trip.
Now?
Is that right? Now, I don't know. I kind of want to watch that. I'll catch up with you. All right, we'll do 19, and then we'll wrap this up because it has been over an hour, and I'm hoping for some kind of playback value on these things. Everybody who's leaving, take care, be safe, stand against hate, and come back and see us. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Glasses first, then scripture. I'll get this right one of these days. I'm only a third of the way through the fucking book. And it was told Joab, Behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people, for the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son, Absalom! O Absalom, my son, my son! And Joab came into the house of the king, and said, Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines, in that thou lovest thine enemies, and hatest thy friends. For thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well. Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night. And that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now. And the king arose, and sat in the gate. And they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king doth sit in the gate. And all the people came before the And all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, The king saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistines. And now he is fled out of the land for Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back? And King David said to Zadok and to Abiathar the priests, saying, Speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house, seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king, even to his house? Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye the last to bring back the king? And say ye to Amasa, Art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word unto the king, Return thou, and all thy servants. So the king returned, and came to Jordan. And Judah came to Gilgal, and go to meet the king, to conduct the king over Jordan. And Shimei the son of Gera, a Benjamite, which was of Bahurim, hasted, and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him. And they went over Jordan before the king. And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. And Shimei the son of Gera fell down before the king, as he was come over Jordan. and said unto the king, let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do thou remember that which thy servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For thy servant doth know that I have sinned. And therefore, behold, I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai the son of... Good Lord. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah answered, and said, shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? And David said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah, that ye should this day be adversaries unto me? Shall there any man be put to death this day in Israel? For do I not know that I am this day king over Israel? Therefore the king said unto Shimei, thou shalt not die. And the king sware unto him. And Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came out to meet the king, and had neither dressed his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes, from the day the king departed until the day he came again in peace. And it came to pass, when he was come to Jerusalem to meet the king, the king said unto him, wherefore wentest thou not with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, my lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For thy servant said, I will saddle me an ass, that I may ride thereon, and go to the king, because thy servant is lame. And he hath slandered thy servant unto my lord the king. But my lord the king is as an angel of God. Do therefore what is good in thine eyes. For all of my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king, yet didst thou set thy servant among them that did eat at thine own table. What right therefore have I yet to cry any more unto the king? And the king said unto him, why speakest thou any more of thy matters? I have said, thou and Ziba divide the land. And Mephibosheth said unto the king, yea, let him take all, for as much as my lord the king is come again in peace unto his own house. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim, and went over Jordan with the king, to conduct him over Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, even 80 years old. And he had provided the king of sustenance while he lay in Mahanaim, for he was a very great man. And the king said unto Barzillai, come thou over with me, and I will feed thee with me in Jerusalem. And Barzillai said unto the king, how long have I to live, that I should go up with the king unto Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? Can thy servant taste what I eat, or what I drink? Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women? Wherefore then should thy servant be yet a burden unto my lord the king? Thy servant will go a little way over Jordan with the king, and why should the king recompense it me with such a reward? Let thy servant, I pray thee, turn back again, that I may die in mine own city, and be buried by the grave of my father and my mother. But behold, thy servant Chimham, let him go over with my lord the king, and do to him what shall seem good unto thee. And the king answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him what shall seem good unto thee. And whatsoever thou shalt require of me, that will I do for thee. And all the people went over Jordan. And when the king was come over, the king kissed Barzillai, and blessed him, and he returned unto his own place. Then the king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him, and all the people of Judah conducted the king, and also half the people of Israel. And behold, all the men of Israel came to the king, and they said unto the king, why have our brethren the men of Judah stolen thee away, and have brought the king and his household, and all David's men with them, over Jordan? And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, because this king is near of kin to us. Wherefore then be ye angry for this matter? Have we eaten at all of the king's cost, or hath he given us any gift? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, and said, we have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. Why then did ye despise us, that our advice should not be had first in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. And there we have the somewhat long and extremely strange 19th chapter of the book of 2 Samuel. Good gracious. All right, let's see how the chat goes. Let's see. Back up. Oh, Absalom. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dave, for dropping the links in the chat. You are indeed, as Julie says, the best mod ever. All right. So, 19 is essentially yet more prologue to the divided kingdom, right? Israel and Judah. It's the 10 tribes of Israel, and then Judah, and then Benjamin, which eventually became the divided kingdom that was ruled separately by two different kings. And this is yet more explanation of the beginning of that, the rivalry. All right, but at the beginning, we start off with David still weeping on top of the wall. Oh, Absalom, Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab, the man who killed him by stabbing him with 3 arrows before 10 other people, also came in to smite. Joab gets the message, the king's upset because his son is dead. Durr. And so Absalom's army comes creepsy and tricksy and sneaking gently into the city so that the king does not see them, because they know the king is upset. And David continues to mourn and to carry on. And Joab comes to him, says, "You big damn crybaby, what are you carrying on for? Don't you realize this whole damn army, including me, just risked their fucking life for you? Wouldn't even let you come out to battle with them for fear of your special butt? And now, one particular person, yes, I know it's your son, but still, one particular person out of the 20,000 people that fell by the sword, and more than that got lost in the damn trees, what is wrong with you? Go down and talk to the people. People lost their husbands, their fathers, their brothers. Go be a king. Stop pouting up here on top of the wall. It's sad that your son is dead." Which I did, but I ain't gonna tell you that. But it's not the end of the fucking world. And David says, okay, I guess you're right. And so David goes down and talks to the people. And the people are at strife one with another. So David calls in his 2 trustworthy priests, Zadok and Abiathar. You remember the 2 guys he had on the inside? Not so much on the take as essentially bearing word to him from the inside of Jerusalem when it was under the control of his son Absalom, the man with the long hair that got caught in the tree. This is a very strange section of the stupid fucking book. Now, pardon. Cover your cough, y'all. Now, once David finishes sort of consoling the people, which don't take him real long, um, he heads back to Jerusalem, which is some ways away. And he gathers up the men of Judah and goes, wake up, machine, stop doing that. Okay. And goes on the way back. Now, I'll be honest, my understanding of biblical geography in this particular time is a little limited. And always was, even back in my Sunday school and churching days. Not one of the sections of the Bible you spend a lot of time on, in at least in my time experience. But if this is an origin story of the divided kingdom, he's had to cross over the river to go way out east. Then he's coming back, and instead of staying on the side of the river where because I'm trying real hard in my head, y'all, not to confuse the divided kingdoms of Israel and Judah with the divided kingdoms of Upper and Lower Egypt, because that was a north-south division, and if memory serves, this was a one side versus other side Jordan division. So they cross over and they're headed back to Jerusalem, and the 10 tribes catch up with the one tribe of Judah and says, "Where the hell are you going with our king? You passed completely through our territory, and you keep on going on and crossed over the river and shit." And the men of Judah say, "He's kin to us. Of course we lay claim to him." And, oh, Maspik says, check your Twitter. All right. And it says he's kin to us. Of course we... I'm sorry, I'll look at that in a second. I've got way too many notifications at this moment. I can't sort through them all. I'm sure it will be awesome, though, because you're amazing. And the other 10 tribes go, well, you do remember this whole there being 12 tribes thing, right? Well, you're claiming him on behalf of Judah and one half Benjamin. You know, the historical stay on one side. Yes, I remembered it right. Yes, it's one side versus other side Jordan, because they came up through the Sinai Peninsula, and half of them crossed over Jordan into the, not half of them, but 10 and a half of them crossed over Jordan into the Promised Land under Joshua to do their massacring. But Judah and half of the tribe of Benjamin stayed this side Jordan to have that territory as their inheritance. That's good Lord. That's from way back in fucking last part of Exodus and on into Judges. Yes, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Yeah. So wow, I had to reach way back in the brain box. Imagine what these kinds of moments are going to be like by the time we get through to about Philemon. The kind of reaching back I'll have to do. It's going to be like, did anybody ever watch Angel? What's usually uncharitably called the Buffy spinoff. Fantastic show. Only ran 5 seasons. Most shows don't run longer than 5 seasons. Awesome show. I fucking love it. If you don't like it, you're wrong, and that's all there is to it. There was as I promise I'm going somewhere with this. In the 5th season, there was a moment, I think it was in 5, there's a moment where he's in the file cabinet room of this law firm where massive amounts of information are stored, and he's introduced to the librarian there, and there's this fantastic moment where he asks her where in this massive room of thousands and thousands and thousands of file cabinets to find something in particular. And she says, let me check one moment. And her eyes roll back into her head, and tiny, tiny, tiny text goes zippity, 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 zip, 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 like going through microfiche too fast across her eyeballs. And then it finally stops, and she says, okay, aisle 4, cabinet 3, section 5, or whatever. I've always loved that moment. That's what it's going to feel like, at least, by the time we get through to about Philemon, when I'm trying to reach back for some bit of trivia from somewhere around 2 Samuel. Zippity, zippity, zip, zip, zip. Cabinet 3, file 2. As if my memory was that good, right? All right, so anyways. 10 tribes of Israel and half Benjamin. The tribe of Judah and half Benjamin. And the 10 tribes say, there's more of us than there are of you, right? I don't care if you're more closely related to David. There's a hell of a lot more of us than there are of you. And so he should really stay on our side Jordan to set up his kingly house. And so they contend. And as of the end of chapter 19, we don't know what David and the 10 tribes of Israel and the tribe of Judah and half Benjamin decide, which means we're ending on a cliffhanger right after the 90-minute mark, which I think is just good TV. So y'all just going to have to come back and see us next time when we will find out what happens in chapter 20. Let me scan through the chat and see what's been going on. I see we've got a little chatter. Yeah, MathBig has good software. Yeah, and it shows, brother. It shows. Amiga Nuts knows Angel was good. Amiga Nuts knows what's going on. Julie says she tried to hate Angel because she was such a big Buffy fan and just couldn't do it. Good.
Yeah, you did that. That's your fault.
It's my fault. I'll take the blame on that. All right. Well, since we're closing out chapter 19, let me pull the banner off there. Once again, as always, a massive, massive thank you to my patron, Miss Paul Camish, who has joined us earlier in the chat, but then had to retire because it is stupid late over in the UK where he resides. And if any of you would like to join Mr. Camish in having my unending appreciation constantly expressed to you often enough so that you might get just a little bit uncomfortable, you can always join us over at patreon.com/JunkshopLibrary, where you can contribute financially to our work in the library for as little as $1 a month. Regardless of whether you can or want to contribute financially, and I understand that these are financially stressed times and we've all got to watch our pennies, so trust me, nothing is being held against nobody who doesn't. Do me a favor and hit that like button. Share this around with anybody you think it might who might appreciate it or whom you feel it might annoy. I welcome the hate comments as well as the good. Hadn't gotten any good hate comments in a long, long time. I suppose that means I'm building my community well and I'm not getting picked up by the crazies, which I'm fine with. All right. Well, Amiga gives me applause. Says, bravo, bravo. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Always such a pleasure to see you. You're always so supportive. All right. Well, we're going to roll on out of here. Thank you to everybody who was here in the chat. Thank you to everybody who watched this back after the fact. I will try to make sure that my end screen links are working properly this time so that you can As we used to say on the chat, and have only gotten back around to saying again recently, poke the Pope to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. If you liked what you saw here, this is pretty much what you see and what you get. I do the same stuff all the time and have entirely too much fun doing it, and am joined by a fantastic crew of people who make it all worthwhile. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until we gather together again, everybody take care, be safe, fight against hate. Bye now. End broadcast. Yes. Checkbox.